So this is the third episode of Urban Tango Nights Talks, and today I'm joined by Tango Alchemy's Eduardo Bozzo, who usually resides in Bristol and teaches out of Bristol at times when we are allowed to actually physically come together. But today we're back online, so welcome, Eduardo.
Hi.
So we're going to start the conversation where tango began from you. As I've seen on your Facebook page, obviously look at the Tango Alchemy Facebook page and you'll see lots of stuff about Eduardo. He's also got a website which we'll put links to below. But there's been pictures of you, I think must be around when you were about 15. Must be when you start. Is that when you started tango, or were you a bit younger than that?
I wish I was 15. It was more like 18.
Really?
Yeah. I always heard tango at home because my grandparents were tangueros from both sides of the family. My dad loved as well tango. My mom was a rebel. She liked rock and roll, so there was a generational gap. But yes, I was 18. My sister introduced me to tango. She was already a dancer, and she was from the people the first younger generation who went into tango in the 80s.
Okay, so she was part of that, like sort of almost. So that's when people really kind of like the nuevo sort of phase of tango with Chiche Famboli and.
Yes, well, Chiche will come afterwards. Will be the next, like with more with Naveira and Salas.
Okay, yeah.
Chicho came a little bit after them. I think. I mean, I don't want to talk for other people. I think. Yes, more with Naveira, and it was a huge amount of people who were into contemporary dance, who started to dance tango at that time. And it was very rare to see younger people like, I don't know, younger than 18 at the Milonga will be really strange to see. Yeah. And when I started, I didn't start thinking, oh, I'm going to become a professional dancer or make out of this a profession, because at that time there was no money in tango. It was something that you did just for fun, and there wasn't an industry behind it, basically.
Okay. So when you say there was still milongas going on in the 80s, but I'm assuming that they were attended by people who were dancing tango in the sort of what people would call the golden period, I suppose, or golden age. Were those people still the ones who were the main dancers there?
Yes. It was, for example, if I went to a milonga, it would be there Eduardo Bozzo, Pupi Castelo, Balmaceda, all guys who when most of them are dead, the big names, but will be very traditional. However, there is the generation that came the 80s, the one who joined in the 80s, were people with a different background. Yeah. So it will be they will be the ones who introduce a lot of movements that was quite fluid and more contemporary to tango, like not so milonguero or so I don't know, all moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose in the 80s was tango, but like the places where they danced, was it actually that full of floor at that time, or was there lots of space to be able to dance that sort of more open, fluid styles, rather than, if you say, picked like a milonga from the 40s where everybody was crammed in? Was that one of the main causes?
Mm-hmm. It was, well, for example, the first time I went to a milonga, I remember was in San Juan y Boedo, was the floor was packed, and I was petrified. My heart was pounding, and I saw the people flowing in the dance floor, and I was like, oh my God. And the thing is, everyone was such a good dancers, such floor craft.
Yeah.
And I got dizzy just of watching them, because I thought I wouldn't be able to join the dance at that time, you know? And I had that impression, yes. And at that moment, they will mix the older guys, you know, with the new people who were start coming, that were 30 years old, 20-ish. And then there was another places, not like that milonga, that it will be more, the music might be sometimes traditional, most of the time traditional, but it will be like the paracultural, the old paracultural, like in the 80s. And it will be people wanting to do new stuff with tango.
Okay.
So it may be, for example, I used to introduce, because I used to be an actor, a band that was called Muñeca Brava, that it was made from different people who went in different directions. Afterwards, like one went to El Arranque, another one went to Milonguitas, different bands. And they will do, you know, like 34 puñaladas, that kind of music. Like it's still traditional tango, but with a different air. And those places were the lot of young people were trying different stuff, from the dancing, or yes, sometimes from the music. But the things started to become like, yes, fresher.
Yeah, I suppose it's just how things just generally develop, and I suppose the atmosphere that the crowd would create as well from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was very exciting. So sometimes when I was like, at the milonga afterwards, like every atmosphere and every place will have different, and every place will have different atmosphere, and that's what I would love. But then there was a time, I think quite recently, what happened is like everyone had to be like similar to everybody else. Like, you know, it's like a format.
Yeah.
And and that's, I think, when things start to get a little bit stale.
Yeah.
When we had to do like this had to be like, a particular way, and it doesn't respect the natural, I think, feeling of things.
Yeah. So in the 80s, were there lots of milongas that you could choose to attend or go to, or could you go different, like to the week to different, and get like a sort of different vibe from different milongas, or did you maybe stick to the sort of same ones?
There weren't many, and the thing is, the people weren't so tango crazy. The people would choose like, okay, I'm going to the milonga twice a week, or everyone to their own, I don't know. But it was a feeling like, okay, the people didn't want to become specialists at dancing, or, the people who, it wasn't an urgency of how to be the best one on the dance floor.
Yeah. Even
that everyone wants to be the I guess the best one sometimes, and yes, so it was like there was clubs where there were practicas with lessons, and the teachers would be like older people who knew how to dance, and they wouldn't be very let's say pedagogic. They wouldn't know very well what they are doing. They will do something. Like I used to have a beautiful dance partner at the time, a girlfriend, and the teacher will get her to do the step with him. He will do, look, it's like this, something really flash it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to move, and we would be like, whoa, how I do that? Oh, it's easy. You just do this, do this twirl thing.
There's still teachers out there that do that now.
Well, yeah, but
You're like, just go into the cross, then you just do this, and suddenly her leg is around the other side of you, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it was more common. It was because it weren't people trained. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But at that time, weren't people trained to teach and to have patience with people? We're just really good dancers who will just teach because people said to you, oh, please, Chris, you are so good. Just teach me what you do. And you said, oh, I'm just I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just a lecturer or
postdoc. Yeah. So, you still get quite a lot of that sort of idea of things where people. This is one of my sort of gripes with the tango world, is when you get people who say, oh, I'm going to this person to go to a workshop or whatever. And you go, well, do you know if they can actually teach? Because you can see like a video of them on YouTube. So as we get lots of people sending videos to us, say, do you want to book us as teachers? And here's a video of us dancing. I go, well, that's great. You look great when you dance, but can you actually teach? That's the real crux of the matter. The actual ability, like teaching is only a small amount, the actual knowledge of something is, lots of it is about the communication for it, how you interact with the people in the class, how you manage the class. So you always want to, so when we try and book a teacher, we always try and go to one of their classes or workshops to actually see if they can actually communicate and if they're actually going to do everything, or are they just going to go, oh, you just do this, well, what have you just done? Because it's normally that's really small detail. So like if you do one of my favorite things is the octopus enganche, where you do all the sort of leg movements, and the key for that is actually being on the ball of your foot and being able to pivot on it. If the teacher forgets to tell you that, you're going absolutely nowhere with it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely, yes. Well, at that time it wasn't like now. You have a lot of resources, and exactly, and yes, I think that as well is a modern problem also, or a modern situation of the dancers who dance really, really well and maybe don't have the knowledge of the teaching, because there is people who learn also as well choreography, and this is a different skill. You can be an amazing choreographer and not necessarily be know how they build up to the sequence, how to explain it, or how that was how was developed from one move to the other. You just learn from A to B, and that's I love to see that, but it's just like you see some performers that are amazing and some teachers that are amazing and not necessarily are in the same bracket.
Yeah. How did you learn tango? Did you go, was there sort of a local class, or did your sister teach you a bit first? Or
no, my sister didn't want to teach me at the beginning. She just said, "Oh, do your thing." She showed me the tango, and then I had to do my own research. Let's say she pointed me in the directions that she thought was the best ways, because she's older than me. But then I did my own research, and as I told you before, when I started, it was for fun here and there. I would take a lesson, then in a couple of weeks I will take another, or I will go to dance, and yes, don't do it really regularly and seriously. And I saw many styles and many people, and I took lessons with different people. I think it's a good thing when you try and investigate what is the best for you, what suits you, and the thing is not, I think, not two, you can have two amazing teachers and they teach in a completely different way, and not necessarily both of them speaks to you,
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I went to a lot of different teachers and really took what I find they were good at, or like,
I suppose the other thing is, I suppose with myself, when I started dancing tango, which was 6 or 7 years ago now, there was obviously lots of internet. I could watch people dance online. So I suppose my style comes from being influenced by what I was seeing online. I suppose when you go to multiple different teachers back in the 80s, you would pick up sort of stylistic things from us and then combine to make your own style that way.
Yeah. Well, it's the same, but it's a different like approach, but it's the same. It's like you get, now you do it online, as you say, you take from different people, like, for example, and things change. I remember like knowing somebody, El Pulpo, the one who invented some of the moves, the octopus moves.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I didn't like him, and then I like him. I think you experience this kind of relationship with teachers as well. That sometimes you say, oh, I don't like what he's doing, and then suddenly you say, oh, but you revisit that place. You don't like all the time the same things, I guess. Sometimes you want to be more purist, more just walk, and sometimes you're interested in the leg wraps. I think there is an evolution on us inside ourselves that it changes with the time. So, for example, when, I don't know your experience, but sometimes you get people coming to you who are very interested and they don't come anymore, or the other way around. People who don't come to you and then suddenly they start to come regularly. And you said, it's nothing to do with me. In both cases, it's something to do with the process of the person who comes to the lesson.
Yeah, definitely. You get people who might come for a couple of lessons one year, and you'll see them maybe 18 months later, and then they all start coming regularly just because they've got to that point now where it's almost if they've done something else, and then they've realised they've now gone into a phase where they think that they can get what they want from somewhere else. I suppose you also see it with different dances as well. Like if you go into like the salsa, bachata, and kizomba scenes, everybody started off in salsa, and then after a while they move into the bachata stuff, and then they'll might come back to the salsa, and so I suppose it's just phases of people learning as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's why. I think there is sometimes as a teacher you just have to keep working in what you are working and not worry so much about if people comes or not regularly, because people have lives, and sometimes I have students who come regularly. Then I said, "Oh, I didn't see you for a long time." She said, "Oh, I got married," or I don't know, whatever. You think, "Oh, that makes sense," or whatever. My dog died, and I was grieving.
Or I got a new job, or even moved away for a bit, and like from abroad. Oh, you've been in France for the past 6 months, huh?
Or they hear that the way of doing it it was a particular way, and so they went into that direction and then came back and, you know, or yeah.
Yeah, well, Spencer, since we've got around to the teaching, when did you start taking the tango more as a professional?
Well,
how did that develop?
Well, it was accidentally. It was two different accidents. One, I was with my dance partner in 1995. I was I did some tango, you know. I did some tango. I knew how to do basic step, hero, you know, some basic moves with her, and we were on holiday in Bariloche, that's near Patagonia, central part of west part of Argentina, and they asked in the folk teacher who was teaching in that area, Bariloche, asked us to do a lesson for their folk group.
Okay.
And I said, oh no, I can't teach tango. You know, I just knew a few moves. Well, the thing is, we did the lesson for the folk group, and the press came around, and it was a big thing, because at that time, tango in the 80s wasn't considered a national music, a national culture.
Yeah, or hobby, I suppose, yeah.
Or folk. It wasn't considered folk music because it's too recent. It's only have 100 and many years of existence, tango. So it wasn't take part as a long tradition of anything. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So to some of the Argentine folk sort of culture that dates back to well into the 1700s, even 1600s. Actually, 1600s, I suppose.
Yeah. After the
and then got 200 years, then tango started developing.
Yes, and so there is another. That's another thing very interesting about tango. Is like people think, oh, tango is from Argentina. Well, recently it's from Argentina. Tango is
African in main origin.
El Río de la Plata. Tango, it develops in the River Plate. So that's Buenos Aires and Montevideo. And there is where it borns. Of course, it borns with the black population there, and in both sides of the River Plate. But sometimes people think like, oh, you know, you are Argentinian, you know tango, you feel tango, and it's quite recently that was adopted by Argentina like a national treasure.
Yes.
Originally, what happened is that the people in the country that is not London, it's not Buenos Aires, would have their dances. They still, you know, it's the main dance is a folk dance, and tango would be something they knew about, but they wouldn't really feel it like when, for example, when I was a child, I always have tango in the background because it's the sound of the city of Buenos Aires. It's all the time tango, tango, tango. But if you ask somebody from another province of Argentina, oh, tango, will say, like, if you ask a Scottish about, I don't know, Welsh folk dance, it's like, what is the, or, you know, or, yes, you know what I mean.
Yeah, that does. I suppose it's quite interesting now that, is Capoeira counted as a folk dance?
Yeah, well, chacarera, yes, is a folk dance.
Yeah, because now you got to sort of, you go to milongas and they'll suddenly have a break and go, all right, next up is a chacarera. And you think, well, that's got nothing to do with tango, I suppose, but...
Well, but that's interesting because the chacarera was played like in between, like, to don't have tango all night. They play chacarera, you know, to, like, they will, in some places they would play chacarera and they would play, you know, folk. It was a lot of foxtrot, or they will play other musics in some areas. You know, they wouldn't play just tango.
Yeah, well, I read a book once, and they said that especially in the sort of early 50s, well, to mid 50s, when sort of rock and roll was coming around, then you'd have sort of more of that sort of music being played in, because they played some milongas would play sort of tango music 60-70% of the time, and the rest of the time they'd play sort of music that was popular throughout, just general popular music, which I suppose is slightly too early for Elvis, but it's probably getting to that point where you're starting to get the sort of guitar chugging rock and roll rhythms, and obviously swing would have still been there from the jazz bands from the 40s and 30s.
Yeah, I went to a milonga, for example, that they will play, you know, instead of, they will play chacareras, but they will play, for example, cumbia or other rhythms. You know, cumbia, it's a different kind of Latin rhythms.
Yeah.
But that was quite, in some areas, that was quite cool. You know, it was fine. You just have mainly tango, and then you have also, you know, vals and milonga, but you will have also cumbia and you know, something like salsa, you know, a little bit, you know, of different rhythms, you know, and that even in the tango itself happens with what's he called, this guy, la orquesta de todos los ritmos, with the ones who plays foxtrots and how's he called, Rodriguez. Enrique Rodriguez, you know, he plays all the rhythms. He plays foxtrot, he plays Spanish music, you know, all sort of different feelings that is not tango. Yeah. I believe in that kind of organic.
Yeah, well, that's how things sort of merge, isn't it? You get, you know, you might get somebody dancing tango, and then they might hear a slightly different rhythm of, say, something with a salsa background, and they might start dancing a bit of tango to that, and the musicians sort of start seeing that and go, well, I'm just going to incorporate a bit of, like, sort of the salsa beat behind some, like, the bandoneon doing something, and then you get a development of the music and a development of the styles, and eventually everything sort of merges into a melting pot, and you get either a continuation of what you've got, but going in a slightly different direction, or you get something entirely new coming out of it.
My dad was telling me the other day that one track that they will he will remember when he was a kid, like 6 years old, was this one. Let me see if you can hear it. Okay, that's a cumbia, that's a Cebal Caimán. That's a cumbia, and they will, for example, they will play the tango all night, and then they will play this kind of festive music. And dance differently, you know.
Yeah. And then, so you've done your first class in 1994, you said.
And then there was another, then there was another episode. That was, I was acting, I was with a group of theater, and the director in the University of Letras in Buenos Aires, is literature. He asked me if I will go to a festival of representing Buenos Aires in a festival with tango in Costa Rica. So I prepare a piece of tango and tango theater with my dance partner, and he took us as part of the troupe of theater and dance to Costa Rica, and then I stayed there teaching and dancing in bars in Costa Rica for 3 months. The trip was for a week, and we decided to stay over and live there for a bit.
So were your grandparents still around at that point?
Who?
Were your grandparents still alive at that point?
Oh, no.
So,
One grandmother from my mom's side, that she wasn't a dancer, but she would love tango singing.
okay.
She will sing like the old singers of tango, that with a really high pitch and vibrato, really strange, and that's why I get really. That's something, another thing, when people says about the women in tango, like singers, I don't know, in some discussions in Facebook or something, that's completely rubbish. There were many women singing.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I've still got it. For those who don't know, Swansea University had a strong link with Patagonia in Argentina, and we used to send students over there quite regularly. So the Swansea University Library has a fairly large Argentine tango section.
Oh yeah,
and they were doing a book clear out for books that were no longer going. So they go off, and we managed to acquire quite a lot of them. And one of those was about women in Argentine tango.
Oh wow!
And I think when obviously Nick and Diana, who came for the Welsh Tango Festival, they came to our house first, and they were going for these books. They're all in Spanish, so I think Diana took took that book to have a read of because she was interested in that sort of stuff. So there's like this, a few books that Nick said are still quite common. You can go, and if you go into a tourist destination in Buenos Aires, you can pick up some of those books. But there's other ones which were sort of more sort of niche, I suppose, like this one on women, which seemed to be quite interesting to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yes, when I came back from Costa Rica, is when I started more properly to sell. I thought, oh, that was such a good experience teaching and dancing. I would like to do this more often, let's say. And so, yeah, was one of my things was to become better teacher and better dancer. And I danced, in places like Café Tortoni, and yes, really nice experience in nightclubs in Buenos Aires. Then it became more of something more serious, let's say. Yeah.
And then you ended up being brought over to the UK in about 2002.
Yes, exactly, correct. Yeah.
Yes. How did that happen? Did someone just email you say, "Do you fancy coming over to the west of England?"
Yeah, well, it was because I taught people from the UK in in Buenos Aires that came to the at that time at my sister's school, the Escuela del Tango in Buenos Aires. So I would teach many people, you know, from abroad, and so one day I received, yes, a message from the Tango West in Bristol asking me if I would like to come over to teach there for 3 months only.
Okay.
3 months.
And you ended up staying for 18 years.
Yes, yes. Yes, incredible. Yeah.
So I suppose you saw the building of the Argentine tango scene in Argentina, and then I suppose back in 2002 there wasn't that much tango in the UK at that point. So I suppose you've seen the building of the tango scene through the UK as well.
That's amazing. Yes, yes. I'm really privileged to have witnessed the rising of tango in UK and in Bristol. And yes, I'm fascinated with this cultural growth and these different aspects and different ways that it developed. You know, because I didn't know in which direction it was going to go. For example, they said to me, "Oh, can you bring some music from Buenos Aires, some tango from Buenos Aires?" And I thought, "Oh yes, I'm going to bring, you know, Pugliese, I don't know, some really Gobi, some really interesting, like melodic and dramatic orchestras, and suddenly, and then I realized when I came here, they were really into the more rhythmical stuff.
Oh, so more. Was the rhythmical stuff more like, earlier than that? Was it? I suppose more the 30s.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, more kind of canaro and really strong beats, really clear. That's cool. Yeah. No, it's cool, but it's just. It's not what I was expecting by new music, you know. For me, new music was like going more into the kind of melodic, more expressive type.
Yeah, so, it was bits with the bigger orchestras where they really sort of it almost became like sort of film music, I suppose, when you look at Pugliese's sort of repertoire, especially the stuff he wrote in the. I think it was late 60s stuff he wrote then. There's sort of much bigger pieces of music.
Well, the particularly all the shows became, you know, many of the music of the tango shows who became famous, like Tango Argentino in Broadway or Forever Tango, were mainly the you know, kind of Pugliese type of music. More grand and more kind of drama, and the people will go, "Oh my God, what's that?" You know. But yes, so I also learned a lot of when I came at the beginning to UK's the tastes of or in which direction things were going at that time. You know, more rhythmical, more more old, you know, if have a scratch in it, will be more authentic feel to it, like more kind of the sound of you know, the scratch of the
the record, and I suppose that was well, I suppose I'm more into this because I'm more into this sort of the sort of new Evo and alternative scene in tango rather than the traditional scene. But you've now got that sort of the emergence of neo tango as well, which which I don't know. It's like I would like to do an interview with some people from the neo tango scene to actually find out what they consider it to be, because for me, neo tango is more philosophy rather than an actual style of tango. But it seems to be people now seem to be categorizing it as a style. But obviously you've run 2 regular milongas in Bristol. You've got Hope Chapel last Saturday of the month, which is normally live music, and you also got your and you also got your South Bank on second Friday.
Second Friday of the month, yes.
Yeah, which is more of a which is DJ'd and more of a real mix of music as well. So. Yeah. So there's definitely variety there in the music, and the dancing in the South Bank is always packed. Yes. Hope Chapel is always packed. It's not normally packed as well, but being a building about 4 times the size of South Bank, it's always difficult to judge. But so, how did you, as you grew up and sort of dancing tango, did you really sort of associate different styles of tango, or was it just everything was tango, and you did whatever you pleased within it?
Well, my taste was very influenced by a guy called Horacio Godoy, who is a tango dancer and teacher, who was a DJ at La Viruta, where the young people goes to dance. And I have that feeling he will play music that you will want to dance all the time, like, and some orchestras you didn't know, some orchestras you knew. So I think the philosophy, as you mentioned, like in the neo tango, I think everything is philosophy. Yeah. Like you can make a philosophy of you, what the people you aspire to bring, like, let's say. So I think that I got that aspect of the tango DJing from him. Well, he always wanted me to. I always had the feeling that I wanted to dance all the time with him, with that particular DJ, and he would surprise me, but in a nice way, not by the surprise itself, but want me, keep me on the ball of my foot, literally, oh, let's go and dance this, and that's what I took from him. So when I DJ, I feel like I really want to make the people want to dance, and it's not so much about myself. It's about, well, that night, who came to the milonga? Okay, so let's steer it in this direction, in that direction, to try to make the more quantity of people in that night dance.
Yeah, I suppose that becomes a lot down to experience as well. You have to sort of develop that experience to know what you've got and how it will work then in that case as well. So,
yeah.
I suppose the next thing then would be, where do you see the future of tango going? Does obviously this the weekend just been, which would have been the 4th of April, before the coronavirus, you'd scheduled that to have a tango blues night.
Please come when this is over. Come to the
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that as well, because we started doing tango blues probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. So Wales has no blues dancing, and it's something we've want to try and develop. So getting opportunities to actually do tango and blues together are few and far between. So we were really looking forward to actually heading over to, it was in South Bank it was scheduled for. So do you see that's where...
as well. I was really looking forward.
Yeah. When all this coronavirus has subsided, we'll definitely be back over with you. If you do a tango blues night there.
I will. Yes, I'm really up for for everything that is trying to connect dancing and different flavors of the dance, and not be so what we said before about have like boxes of not so much trying to fit in a box, but rather kind of bring people together. I had one at the Hope Chapel.
Yeah, there was with Angela Armstrong.
Yeah, and the people who relaxed into it, they had fun, and some people who were expecting, oh, I'm a tango dancer, oh, I'm a blues dancer, that that they want to fit in a particular category. They didn't have so much fun as the people who are like, okay, let's see what happened.
Well, I suppose it comes down to the definition of whether you're a tango dancer or a blues dancer, or if you're just an overall dancer. So do you hear music and you just want to move with it, and you just think whatever is you move in whichever way you think is appropriate, whether it's sort of doing the blues sort of smooth with a bit of hip movement in it, or whether you're sort of more, I don't know how you describe tango movement. It's interesting to say the least, but you get those sort of different senses. Or even if you just play, because my background was Latin and ballroom, so if you do Latin and ballroom, you learn 10 dances, so you don't really, you know what the different dances are, but you see links between them. And I suppose that this is again something that I'm been interested in, seeing the links between tango and blues, because they both developed at similar time. They both have an interesting history of, especially Misery, if you listen to the lyrics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what it. Well, when you hear Melingo, Daniel Melingo, and that kind of music, you can really see the overlappings and the of the styles, of the outsiders and the
Or is that, I've forgotten which tango piece it is, but the one which talks about losing money on a horse race.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's lots of like sort of Howling Wolf's blues songs which are sort of related to that. So.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's I think that in that direction is going the tango into a more of what we were talking earlier about the philosophies of approaching the dance. You always will have the people who wants to dance it in a particular way, or more traditional, or more organic, or more nuevo, or some people who would think, go with the newest thing. Or for example, when I was teaching in Norway, once somebody said to me, will you teach me deslizada? I think it was deslizada. And I thought, oh my God, what? I didn't know, I was so embarrassed. What's deslizada? I was with Isolde Canicani.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we were teaching there. And I thought, okay, can you explain me how it is to move? I said to a student. And then I realized it was a colgada.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, a volcada in line.
Okay.
But desliz means to glide.
Oh, right, yeah.
So deslizada is, of course, then it makes complete sense. It's a volcada in line. I said, oh yes, of course. I know what you mean. But now so what happens nowadays is like you need the marketing. You need to put new names to things.
Yeah.
So the thing is, there's always people who want to know the latest move, and probably the latest move is nothing new. It's just something that
been repackaged from the 1940s. Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever, you know, or probably from another dance style.
Yeah.
You know, from like now you have kizomba that, you know, there is many moves that you say, hang on a minute, I know that move.
Yeah.
When you watch kizomba, it's like.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I get. Like, you get people going. It's just, again, this is from like the sort of neo tango scene. People like put up a video going, "Oh, this is how you do this," and I go, "Well, wait a minute, that's this from modern jive, or that's existed in cha-cha since the 1960s."
Well, and that's very interesting because every dance style borrows from other dance style, and there's no problem. It's just the way it is. The thing is, some things fits better with the style, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose one of the things you always are learning as well. So you get to see new things, and also trial and error. You try and do something, you mess it up, and you learn something else from it. And
absolutely, and that brings me to the thing when people say to you, "Oh, can you tell me how long it will take me to learn to dance tango?" I'm still learning, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's like I always find it really weird, like especially when people go, "Well, how long does it take to learn to dance tango?" Well, no, a minute probably. It depends how good you want to be at it.
Yeah, exactly. Or what you want to bring into it.
Yeah, and then also it also comes down to how much you're going to practice, what you're going to, like, natural ability. Like, you got people who are going, "I've been dancing for 10 years." Great. You probably should still go back to your beginners class. Or you get people who go, "I've been dancing 3 months," and you're thinking, wow, and it all depends on where what their background is, how quickly they've learned, to a certain extent, what teachers they've been to, and there's no sort of set way that somebody can learn any dance, well, other than ballroom, because you're prescribed of how to teach it via a book. But but even then, if you get some ballroom dancers who will go outside that and teach you in a totally different style, which is always nice. But yeah, with tango, you can go to one teacher and they'll give you one form of how to dance something, which focuses on one part of it. Then you can go to another teacher and learn something else. And again, this is what you touched on earlier. Go around as many teachers as you can. Yeah. Even if you go to a really bad teacher, they might even teach you something not to do. But I suppose that's probably a good place to wrap this up for today.
Yeah, brilliant, excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, so
so much.
Yeah. So you obviously have a website, Facebook page for Tango Alchemy, which I'll put links to in the description below. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I think so, but I'm not really up with it. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and find the YouTube channel and put that in the end screen.
Excellent.
As I say, links in the description below. Like their Facebook page. Your Facebook page is normally quite up to date. You got Instagram as well, so I'll put a link to that below as well. Anyway, so thank you, Eduardo, for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for watching this Urban Tango Nights video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content and interviews.